All right, we're back after a week off. Last week, back for preview at PINJ Park Scarpside. Belmont's still not ready
Under the
to
cloud.
return.
Well,
Yeah,
they've officially moved next Wednesday as well. So
yeah, I saw that notification come through. I think we should touch on that to start with. Get the blower out of the way.
um,
I'll let you start.
what is what is there to say? It's the same. Well, the issue had been coming good, and obviously it's gotten worse. It should have been properly fixed when it first was noticed as an issue 4 or 5 years
Which was
ago, whenever
five
it
years ago.
was.
Yep, the good
Yeah,
old battle storm.
everyone remembers their first pulley for me. Thanks. Um, Look, uh, it's not an easy fix, but
No,
it has to be done because it's dangerous and the riders
yeah,
refuse to ride on it, which is fair enough because
completely fair.
someone will eventually die
Yeah,
or at least get
absolutely.
seriously injured.
The decision is 110% correct. It's just staggering that it's taken so
It should
long.
have been done. They, after they got through the
Like,
first season of it, it should have been fixed then. It should have
yeah,
been dug up and redone.
yeah. And they did come out and say that it had been done because it raced for a couple of seasons there without much of an issue.
uh, it was just better. I don't think it was
Yeah,
ever. People always would say that it was still there, and um, look, it was definitely better than that first year, but that doesn't really matter. So
no. It's just, it's just disappointing. Second Saturday meeting back at
yeah,
Royal Belmont, and yeah, the four quaddy legs from memory were the four that we were keen to get involved in, and that meeting had to be transferred to Wednesday at Pinjarra, and then
and they
rescheduled to
keep
the Scarp side.
and they keep running these meetings on the Scarp side instead of the Parks track, which are. Can we get one of them on the Parks, please?
Yeah, it's surprising, but look, what are you going to do? We can only deal with what's in front of us. We have a 3 meter rail on Saturday at the Scarp side. It doesn't look like there's any rain forecast race day. Obviously, the last couple of days we've had a fair bit um,
Yeah,
of rain. It's pretty cool. 19 degrees and fine, no wind.
yeah.
Um,
They're calling it a 7. I think it's an 8 personally, based on how much rain they've got.
yeah,
Well, I think it would have to be based on how much rain they've got. Don't think it's ideal drying conditions, but they are still going to have 2 days worth of no rain. I think it'll play like a 6 would be my guess
yeah.
at this stage.
Fingers crossed, and just a fair track until proven otherwise.
Yeah, it was a 6 last week, and I think it played pretty fair.
Yep,
Horses led and won, and horses circled in some races. So
awesome.
happy to play it like that.
Yeah, for sure. I think so. Saturday, the 8 races, with the Hyperion obviously being our feature race on the day. Group three looks pretty competitive.
Yeah, it's sort of most of the horses out of the Belmont Sprint from 10 days ago. Add in Western Power, who was scratched with a hoof abscess. Add in a couple of others from different places. That look, I think the winner will probably come from the Belmont Sprint, I would say, but market's still got plenty of respect for Western Empire.
Yeah. Right, race one, we kick off with a 72 plus 2200 meter event. Small
Six
and
horses,
concise. However, that being said, it looks quite competitive.
very competitive. I'd say any of the six could win, really. Um, your two,
Lovely.
you, your two classiest runners are. I don't want to say suspect of the trip, but they've never run it before. Don't see any reason why they couldn't. Western Power out of Western Jewel. Western Jewel won a Perth Cup. I'm pretty confident, or one of that West. Someone in the family did, and a lot of the others stay. So see no reason why he couldn't do it, especially since he should get a pretty soft time of it in front. Don't even know who goes and sits OSL. Potentially Rywood if she doesn't settle. Um, Trio probably lead us back, and then the rest of them can sort themselves out. Uh,
Yeah,
no,
it's an interesting race. So you got the top four on the market: Western Power, Zaza Rock, Trio, Fat Roy Slim, all with different jockeys on from its last start, and they all swapped between the four of them. So Western Power had Lucy on last start to win at Belmont, and CJP goes on. Then you've got Zaza Rock, which had CJP on, gets Lucy on. Trio keeps with Pike, but it's a couple of months, just
3 weeks.
3 weeks between runs, and then Flatroy Slim loses Willie Pike. Yes,
Must be two. I'm just trying to do the math on the months because I feel like it should only be two. I feel like it should only be 2
17th
weeks.
of May. Yeah, 17th of May.
Oh no, that's 3 weeks. That is 3
3 weeks.
weeks because it's
Yeah.
the 7th time.
What do you do with Fat Roy Slim? Obviously, gets a bit of a weight relief. 62 back to 60.
It's just a Pike horse.
Pike.
He's not going to get any tempo here, I don't think.
Yeah.
Find it hard to see him out sprinting Trio and Zaza Rock from behind them if the back mark is going to win.
Yeah.
Carrying more weight and being behind them, although he does like the soft, so but
yeah,
it's not like the others don't.
No,
look, I think right. Western Power feels like your most likely winner because he'll lead, walk around. He did it pretty soft last start after doing the same thing. Scout side should suit him with that race shape. He can just build whenever he wants. The rest might have to go at an awkward time for them, and I think he probably does enough so long as he runs the trip. Short enough to find out.
Yeah.
Not a heap of value in the rest of them for me, so probably sit out the staying race.
Love it. Race number 2 is the 62 plus handicap over the 5 furlongs. We have Repossession 210, Magnique 440, Clean Me Up 550, Art Session 650, and Double Figures the other 3 with the Calabrese being scratched. I think the first thing I'll touch on here, the Repossession. Do we know much about Ryan Houston?
He comes from over east, so he's probably better than our apprentices.
Shout out.
He's allowed to ride on a Saturday, so that's a good start.
It's a great
he's
start,
been flown in for the Ganjemi's found him for Repossession. He's taken a few other rides throughout the program. Gets a good opportunity in Repossession, although based on his barrier manners, which are getting better, but I just don't like the added variable of a new rider who is an apprentice. I personally think you'd be better off carrying the 62 and keeping Brad, because if he gets crossed from that outside gate at the 1,000-meter shoot, it gets tricky pretty quickly. I think what helps is last week, the smaller 1,000-meter races sort of started in the middle of the track. So if he's not super fast, it should make him less likely to get held up there. I think he's the best horse in the race. 59 is a bit of a luxury for him after winning last start with 60, but just that little niggling worry of does he get crossed the outside fence, which is enough to put me off at this price point. That being said, I found it hard to see much value in anything else in the race. Art Session draws 2 after sitting against the outside fence, getting a run when Desert Whisper rolled away last start. Clean him up. Trialled slickly enough without being asked to do heaps in pretty quick time. Brings some pretty good form. One run down the straight was a bit slow out and got a bit lost in behind them. Magnique won well enough last start, but didn't really beat anything. I don't think she beat anything when she won either, and then was a touch disappointing in between. So, look, if Repossession steps, I think he wins, but not willing to launch him under that assumption.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I couldn't find a lot of value in this. I think I sort of read from the same hymn sheet as you here, or sing from the same hymn sheet with Repossession. I think he's by far the best horse in the race. It's just a little question mark on how short's too short with the new rider, and just that question on his barrier manners as well. It'd be really good to see Ryan. Is Ryan staying in Perth?
Not
Not permanently?
Not at this stage.
Okay.
from what I've heard.
Hopefully an early winner for him.
I don't
Changing
see
his
any
mind.
I don't see any reason why you wouldn't if you were an Eastern States apprentice. It's a pretty good time to, even if it's just while we don't have any other apprentices that can ride on a Saturday. Seems like a pretty good time to come over and just you'll get your absolute anyone that wants a claimer, you'll just get your pick of them.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Um, Race number three is the 2-year-old set weights and penalties over the 1300. Two-time Stormy, impressive last start winner, 260. Moonwalk, 340. Planet Sweep, 480. Bannard, 750. Veradio, 13. And high double figures, the rest.
Uh, Decent little race. Most of them come, or most of the race horses come through the Two Darn Stormy race. Some different gates involved. Moonwalk comes into one. Thought she was nearly better than him last start, having to sit OSL on a day where it's probably better to have a little bit of cover. She dipped at the 150, just a little bit, but enough that for a 2-year-old to just they can lose their action a little bit. Still fought on quite well, gets a little weight swing, gets a better barrier. Probably would have just liked a in one. I don't know how aggressive LV will be, but based on the way that they rode her in the trial, I think she probably crosses her. From there, at some point, you need to get out. And if LV doesn't take you into the straight, those back markers can get a bit of momentum up on you, which is so important at the scarp side. Too darn stormy. I love the trials, love the fact that Kieran Maher Racing is in the ownership. I think that tells you more than you need to know that he obviously goes quite well. Was good on debut, did what he had to do, was pretty professional. Obviously going to be open to improvement, same as Moonwalk. Thought one of those two would win. I just didn't think anything that wasn't on debut would be able to improve as much as they will, and they ran 1-2 anyway, and they get good enough maps again. Of the trialers, Butalazini looks like he'll need ground, probably further than this and probably easier than this. LV was speedy. Don't know if she looks like she's got the class of these two, the two that I've mentioned as at the top of the market. And Sister Mary won her trial, but in very slow time. I think she goes back and struggles.
Yeah. I think the big one, I've got Two Darn Stormy on top. I was impressed by what he did. Like you touched on, he did what he had to do. Dan Morton with these 2-year-olds getting closer to their 3-year-old age is second to none. So I've got no reason to hop off in any particular reason. I think the only other one that I could really make a case for, but it's a real question mark, is Bannard. He's trialed fantastically, and his two
Yeah,
runs since have been disappointing to say the least.
yeah.
So it's just it's a massive sort of question mark on, do you trust it
I'd
one
like
more
to see him
time?
on speed and see how he
Yeah,
goes on speed, but I still don't think breezing outside of LV is going to be
no,
the
not going to
greatest
be
of
any picnic.
positions.
Nah, so it's just a big watch on Bannard. I'm sticking with the stable. I think they're hitting they're hitting their form. Um, but yeah, it's definitely the one that I'm keeping a close eye on, whether or not this prep is the right time, or if next prep is more to its liking. And Ginnivan's just run into an open goal. He's showboated. He's shown the players chasing after him. Oh, they
Oh no.
oh boy, 27 points, 14 to go. Race number four, that's the 58 plus handicap over the 1200. We've got Wicked Venom 420, History Won't Care 440, Sunny Honey 480, Money Tree $8, Cobb and Co $8, King Cartel 950, and double figures the rest. Just another West Speed Platinum type of field, isn't it?
Pretty good for a West Speed, I thought. History won't
Just
care. Always had a bit of a rap, pretty big SP profile. Wicked Venom, Flash's ability. Sunny Honey is a 66 plus winner, I'm pretty sure. think it's pretty good for a Westby. I think King Cartel leads. Suspect he's gold goes to OSL, and then I just think this looks like a three wide line race. Don't know who leads it up. It could be Money Trees if Lucy just comes out a bit early and then they find their spots. um, or could be Village Girl if they want to try and go forward. Yeah, I'm really not sure, but I thought someone would be three wide. Uh, from there, look, I think your three favourites make sense as your three favourites. Wicked Venom, just not. He's an interesting one. He sort of gets run off his legs 1,000, but then he doesn't run out a super strong 12 a lot of the time. And I don't think a three wide line race is going to be his sort of go, especially at the scarp side where you've got to maintain that long run. History won't care. Pads come off. Trialled fine. Probably trialled better last prep, I thought. And I'm just starting to have had enough of him. And I think the market obviously is too because he's $5 off his career strong SP profile. And Sunny Honey thought he might be able to run a race first up off a couple of decent trials. Just drew sticky in 1,000 meter race behind Rachenko and keep it a mystery. The form's held up. You get the line nice, gets out to 12, gets the apprentice to keep the weight pretty winnable, and he's won in higher grade before. So,
and he handles the wet as well,
and
which
that
thinks is a massive key.
yeah, and I think he gets that right run three wide with cover somewhere. Or I wouldn't ever mind if he was the one leading up the three wide line. I don't think.
Yeah, yeah, completely fair. And you look to last prep, just under 4 lengths behind the good horse.
Which one? Oh yes, Joker's Grin.
Yes, exactly
What the
right.
winner?
And that,
And
albeit over 5 furlongs, but um, yeah, that so it sort of jumps off the page, like if he can get a soft enough run in transit, there's no reason why he can't put himself there. Um, thought the interesting one, albeit it's a long shot, is Only Us. I would have probably from that gate preferred Brad on. No disrespect to
yeah,
Stephen. First up, no trial. Is always a question mark, especially on what's going to be the better side of a six or worse
I think
side of
he
a
gets
six.
through it fine.
It's just one of those horses you'd like to see trial because he's obviously going to be a bit
Yeah,
fresh. Um, he's ran a placing over 6 furlongs in the past. Obviously they tried to stretch him out a little bit, but he's just one of those horses that just sort of keeps grinding along.
and we really should mention Cobb and Co, who went better
Absolutely.
than Wicked Venom last start and is probably better suited to 12.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
trial enormous, I thought.
Yep.
So
Yeah. And he's got the fish to swim through those conditions as well on board.
yep, big teeth.
Race number 5, first leg of the quaddies, a 66 plus over 1,200. Woven Gold $5, Objectify $5, Sunbronze 6, Regal Statue 6, Burberry 650, Tycoon Harry 950. Double figures the rest.
And this race is impossible
First leg of the
because
quaddie, how good?
the best of the best of Objectify would go very close in this. The best of Burberry would win this, I think.
The best of
The
Woven Gold would win this.
the best of Woven Gold would win this. I thought she was more than good enough the other day. Just think she gets another sticky map to work with. If they're making some ground, she probably appeals as, well, the most trustworthy of the three that I've mentioned. Sunbronzed was a decent win the other day. Tracked the speed nice. Kept fighting on one by length. Just didn't think there was a map for him in this. Thought that don't know if Skyduke. I think Skyduke will sit. He went really good sitting 2 starts ago. He won sitting last start. I suspect they sit. Whether they looked across Objectify early and hand up or just sit 1-1, I'm not sure. Thought Excel Train led, thought Tycoon Harry sat OSL, and I just didn't think that left anywhere for Sunbronze.
Yeah.
Tycoon Harry has the earmuffs going on after getting itself cast in the gates last start. Didn't like in race earmuffs, would have preferred just pre races because I don't think he needs them in the race. That's just my personal opinion. So Regal Statue, trialled good, and then probably not suited at 1,000, but really wanted to see a bit more. Um, and as I've mentioned, Berberay and Objectify are both really nice horses if they show up.
Yeah. Yeah, this was just an absolute lottery. This is a lottery. I don't know sort of where to start and where to finish because you touched on Regal Statue. That run last start wasn't that bad considering the horses in it was behind. Obviously you got Rich and Co. Keep It a Mystery, Prospector's Pick, who's come out and won again. Sunny Honey, who we spoke highly of in the previous. So Regal Statue's there. You got Objectify, like you've touched on, who's lightly raced 4-year-old. Handles the conditions well enough. Woven Gold handles the wet well enough as well. And then, yeah, like you said, Burberry's Best could easily win this as well. So, yeah,
And he's
it's
trialled him. They trialled him, and it didn't give anything away because he sort of half missed away, and then they didn't ask him to do a heap. So
who knows?
who knows?
What do you do with the quaddy?
Uh, it's not a field job
No.
because there are a few, but the ones I want to, that I just don't care about are the roughest in the field. So,
Yeah.
um, I think Woven Gold, Berberay, Objectify, Regal Statue. Well, there's Sun Bronze as well, and there's not shorter than a couple of them. I
Yeah.
think one of those four will win.
Yeah. 4, 5, 10, and 12. 4, 5, 10, and 12. Race number 6 is the 60 plus handicap over the mile. Forever Boy 260, Bondi Bay $6, Mojo's Lux 7, Arcadia Park 8, Abisi 950, Gracias Dio $15, and North the rest.
Forever Boy, I'll start with, is your favourite. He was good first up with when a bit unlucky. We talked about that a fair bit.
Yeah,
Before his last start. Last start was crunched in betting late. Probably looked a little bit disappointing, but I still do think the fence and the inside part of the track was the best part. I just thought he peaked a little bit out wider. I thought he was still a pass mark, and I thought with that weight of money, this looks a bit of a drop in class. Dennis Shooter came out and beat them well again last week, so the form's held up fine. Looks like he can be close enough from 4. Gets through should get through the wet. Only had the one start on it without placing, but that was early in his career. He is a full to noteworthy who gets through it well. So I'm expecting that he will too. Of the others in the market, Bondi Bay was scratched a week before last start with a hoof abscess. Went pretty good considering from OSL in a pretty solidly run 2,200 metre race where they ended up circling, stuck on for 4th, beaten a fair way, but probably wasn't too bad. Don't mind her backing trip. Don't mind her backing up. And he'll get through the wet. So Gradius Theo, another that'll get through the wet,
yeah,
was pretty good last start, getting close to 6 shooter and gets Lucy. So that's a big plus for him. Trespassing will lead. Mixes his form badly, but his best would go pretty close in this, especially if they were leading and winning. And Mojo's Luck gets Pike, gets Winkers. Was a bit disappointing last start, but again, another that came quite wide. So
yeah.
gets a few things in his favour.
By this time of the day, do you think the inside's going to be chopped up by
We
any
didn't last week.
means?
It didn't
Yeah,
last week.
didn't
So
last week.
it may be
Just
different,
Yeah,
but
just as they start to race on it more frequently,
yeah, but they've had a week off.
rail goes
I don't
out a
know.
meter.
It's hard
Mm,
to say. I don't want to say they will, but I don't want to say they won't. You just sort of watch and see. I thought it might have happened last week and it didn't really. So
yeah, Roger. Yeah, look, I've obviously first point of call, I looked at Forever Boy. You touched on that really well. Yeah, he was a little bit unlucky last start. Then you've got, I mean, Mickey Grantham. He's just rolling his horses out now. He's loving it with
I think
success
it's
as
like
well.
it's all their second prep for him.
Yeah,
Um, I think he's getting a bit of a stronger team together in terms of staff. I think Clint's riding a lot more out there as track work.
yeah,
Yeah, I think they're just getting a bit more of a solid team together.
mm, for sure. I mean, I couldn't really put my finger on any of them that I wanted to confidently back. I mean, Gracious Dio on Monday night when it was absolutely pissing down, or was it Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, and I saw it in the numbers. I was like, yeah, here
He
we
would have
go.
loved this race to have been run today.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think,
Not at
like you
Bunbury
said,
though. Not at Bunbury.
no, not at Bunbury. But that is a fair track
Enough.
if you ask
Enough
anyone that
said.
works there.
Yeah. I thought it was
Um,
really fair today where heaps of horses without names were sticking on up the fence and then a couple of races late in the day were one down the outside when they overcooked it in front. But
Fantastic,
I thought
best
it was
ever.
really fair.
Yeah, really, really
I
fair carpet
I
track.
still love it. I still love it.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good, especially when you can get in front of it. And I think, look, like you said, Lucy's a good jockey for this guy. Yeah, for this guy, because the thing that we've spoken about with Lucy is that whether she's planted deep, no cover, she doesn't panic, and she's got such great balance.
Yeah.
She's probably not the jockey you want fighting out a photo finish where you got to really push them out and get them up off the
At
canvas.
least she gets over their neck.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Give her some credit.
yeah, I will. But I'm more confident seeing it three wide with cover, without cover, and just her
Yeah.
not panicking, just sitting there, taking her time, go through the motions. So I wouldn't be surprised if Dio pops up. You touched on Mojo's luck with Pike going on. It's a automatic positive. Winkers go on as well.
Yep.
Um, and Bondi Bay, another one that just handles the wet, was good behind Dennis Chu. And obviously Dennis Chu came out and won again. Oh no, that was the run that it actually came out and won. Um, but yeah, look, I think it's another tough race. Couldn't necessarily pinpoint anything though.
Yeah. Quaddy is forever boy. Probably want to see what the track's doing, but I'll say Gradius Dio,
Arcadia Park.
Bondi Bay Imperial. Yeah, Arcadia Park. I want to throw Imperialize in,
Yep, yep, fair.
and then
Um,
Throw Bondi Bay in.
and then throw Bondi Bay in. Yep, yep.
No Pike and Quad. It's
Nah.
fine.
Race number 7 is the feature of the day. It's the Hyperion Stakes, Group 3 at Weight for Age over the mile. We have the ever consistent, magnificent Andy at $2.90. Western Empire returning off a hoof abscess, $3. Bustler, $8. Hemlock Stone, the Perth Cup winner, $12. And it's pretty long, the rest of this field.
Yeah, it's a bit like
Very,
the Belmont Sprint. It's sort of competitive at the top end, and then there's a long tail.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Starting point for me probably is Western Empire. What do you do with him? I was pretty happy to take him on in the Belmont Sprint after not going to the Northern Stakes. Just don't think he's come up as well this prep, and now you get to throw in him missing a run due to a hoof abscess. So he looks mighty short to me
Yeah.
as near on equal favourite. Um, Magnificent Andy, very consistent, ridden a bit against his usual pattern last start, fired out to OSL, nearly won in the race. If he came out any less aggressive, he would have ended up three wide outside of Lucy on West Star. think he
That
gets to
that's
pick wherever he
where
wants to be.
that's where West Stars race was lost, wasn't it?
Yeah, just.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's had that throat up now, so you probably don't want to push him out too hard early anyway. You lose their breathing, they go very quickly and just pop. So, um, of the others through that Belmont Sprint, Bustler, I think you can forgive is getting out to a very big price, considering it's just one bad run. Shades come straight back off. Probably would have liked the Winkers to go back on, but I'll trust in Neville. Tongue tie goes on as well, just to try and help him settle even more. Gets a pretty good map, similar to Magnificent Andy. Hemlock Stone showed the Perth Cup wasn't a fluke, but you're now taking $15 after he started hundreds the other day. A lot of good men was pretty good as well. Copped half a check, gets a better barrier to work with for this field. And then Yonga Lass was fine, but doesn't really get anything extra in her favour like a couple of the others. So,
Yeah.
and then you get onto the tail.
Yeah, definitely. I think what did you think of Buckets Ridge trial?
They were good.
Yeah.
Just don't really want to be with him here without Pike.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Just having a look at, that classic stayer fresh.
Yeah,
We saw
Grant
Hemlock
Alana.
Stone do it. Grant, yeah, exactly. Grant Alana, same combo. Um, yeah, I'm the same as you. You have to take a set against Western Empire at $3, 6 weeks between runs. I
If they
think,
can do this, give them whatever they want.
and look, there's nothing saying they can't because they have literally done everything else. So, it wouldn't be a shock.
But I'm not going to take $3 about them to do it.
No, exactly right. Yeah, you can't. I think, look, Magnificent Andy's bursting to win a race. Like forever consistent. Like you touched on, gets a gun map, split absolute two horses that are absolutely flying. In the Boss Lady and Westar. Westar was enormous. I mean, it ran a mile in a 1,400-meter race last
Mm.
start, so it was a massive run from it. And Magnificent Andy does what he always does. He's always thereabouts.
Won this race
Um,
last year.
did so. There's no reason why he can't go back to back. Um, like what you said about Bustler, not gonna sack him just yet. But obviously just going to be a little bit reserved to see whether or
Hard
not
to
he's.
hard to make him favourite again this week.
It is
Put it that
very
way.
hard. And look,
And
$8.
when I
It's not
say it's
like.
hard, it means I haven't done that.
So look, it's not like you have to take an incredibly short price to find out whether or not he's back or not. Um, and then the rest of them, it's just like bleh. Like which one of these real high priced runners are going to get in the way of some of the fancies, if any?
Probably, hopefully, not many of them, considering the fancies have drawn pretty well.
Yeah,
If you're letting yourself get behind some of the roadblocks, you haven't done a very good job.
yeah, that's right. So yeah, look, I'm Magnificent Andy on top. Um, I'm probably going to let Hemlock Stone go just because that's looks has in the past run well second up, so no reason why he can't do it again.
Just looks a bit
Um,
unders after
yeah,
starting hundreds last start.
yeah, exactly. It just looks like a little bit of a quite say overreaction, um, but just a bit of a reaction, um, per se. Um, so yeah, look, I think Magnificent Andy for me is probably one of the keener bets I've got on the card.
Are we game enough to go two out, Mag, Andy, and Bustler?
I I think tonight, yes, and then
Yeah,
see what the
reassess.
tracks reassess Saturday afternoon for sure. Um,
And then
and
one
we
out in the
get
last.
We get to the last, the 78 plus handicap over 1400. Love and War 230. Miss Sky High 650. Siberian Siren 7. And double figures the long tail.
Mm. Plenty of these come through the Love and War race where Love and War went absolutely enormous for her at 1200.
Insane.
They were running some quick sectionals on the day, so 32.2 isn't as good as it at first appears, but it is still very good,
But
especially considering she didn't really get going until about the 300.
yeah,
So she was, yeah, just outstanding to burst through at 1200. If she reproduces that at 14 from probably a similar spot, but with less traffic, I find it pretty hard to see her getting beaten.
yeah.
Yeah, Miss Sky High trial good, but just yeah, I don't think she has shown that she can go as good first up at 1400 as what Love and War went last start, and see no reason why Love and War would regress. I think she should improve, really.
I think especially with the sting out of the ground.
Siberian Siren been going good, but with soft maps and keeps Braden, but he loses the claims. He goes up 4 kilos, or is it four? Or it might even be 4.5. I know because he's up in grade, but loses the appeal of the claim.
Yeah.
Um, Multinational gets Brad, gets 1400, gets a wet track, gets away from Ascot. Maybe if they're leading. And then a lot of the rest in the market come through that race behind Love and War, and I just can't see them turning the tables. Even she got 5 points for a 1.1 length victory. What planet are we living on? It won't
I
stop
think,
her, but that's
yeah,
ridiculous.
it is. It is. I don't think there's much here that could potentially beat her. Um, I think Speed Dream was really good last week.
Yep.
Was good. Obviously, look, he grows a leg at Belmont.
Don't think
But
barrier one's his barrier.
no,
Isn't
not
in the field yet.
correct. And he's still there in the market.
Royal
I
Tornado
imagine
was
he
good
will get a
first up.
start.
Royal Tornado was good first up, but
Yep.
loses Pike
And yeah,
and
not in the
doesn't have a run
field.
yet.
Yep. Um, Simply's an interesting one that I want to look at fresh. I would just like just a comment from the yard first up.
Yep.
It was on a really good path there to the back end of last year. And then just drifted off as it went up in grade, which you could probably accept. Um, but look, it's handled the wet in the past, so no reason why I don't think it can run a race, stay afresh again. Um, I feel like I'm
Just thought he
overplaying that pearl
trialled
now.
a little too bad compared to plenty of those Grant Alana stars have been trialling better
Mm,
than that.
yeah, yeah, that's fair. To be fair, four lengths behind the good horse.
Who is sadly
Mm,
going to struggle to make it through the winter preparation, which is very sad.
but means Neville just keeps him under wraps for the summer,
Yeah, oh, but
spring, summer.
mm,
It's upsetting.
the same
Uh,
for.
yeah, look, for me, just wrapping that up, it's Love and War clear on top. I don't think you can
Love and
really
War or
do
bad
much
luck.
more. Yeah, I don't think she can really do much more than she did first up, and she'll improve on a wetter track as well, being
Yep.
New Zealand bred.
One out.
One out.
Bang.
Yeah, happy days. Obviously, have you got your sheets out yet?
Nah,
Tomorrow?
I was in Bunbury today. No, I'll do them
Oh,
tonight.
you had to do the trek down to Bunbury.
Yeah, mate. What a
You are
place.
you are all over the place,
Just had to
literally.
go give Kyle Potter a kiss and a cuddle for keeping the track exactly how he left it.
Oh, brilliant. You'll have updated markets
Saturday
Saturday
morning.
morning. That's just a short walk for you to Scarpside.
Yeah, just a short half-hour drive walk to PINJ outside.
Brilliant.
Actually, make it 31 to get all the way out to the far bend. So
And then obviously your Mount Yard mail as well. You'll be all
yeah,
hands on deck, looking at
this
some
time
of
of year
these
is
horses
great
and
at
taunting
PINJ.
them.
There's no one there, so I keep reception.
Oh, brilliant. As long
Mm.
as you're happy, makes us happy. Awesome. I will wrap up my best on the program come in the last two races. It's Magnificent Andy in the Hyperion and Love and War in the Lucky Last. It is tough to get enthused about these winter meetings, and obviously moving away from Belmont is not ideal, but we just have to bat on and
Suck it and see.
exactly right, deal with what's in front of us. So happy days. Good punting, Toby. Thank you very much once again. And
Thank you
the
for finding time
Hawks,
in your very busy schedule.
always the Hawks saluted.
Go the Hawks.
Papa Dunn will be very happy wire to wire.
Yeah, you will. I'll have to give him a call.
All right. Thanks, Toby.
All right. Thank you, Kev.